Okay, I apologise if you can hear a fan in the background because I've got my fan on. It's a really warm day here in Plymouth. Sun's shining out there, beautiful. I've just come back from shopping and bought some bits and bobs. Got a nice little clock there, look, instead of that great big thing that you can never get in shot. Right, you know, I said in the last video that I was going to do another 2 videos of this carbon battery from start to where we were now and all the rest of it. I've made an executive decision. I can't be bothered to edit all the video. It's almost at its best anyway, so whatever you learn about that battery now is where I've come to this stage, isn't it? So I didn't really want to put you guys through another 2 grueling hours, let's say, of another couple of videos to watch all of the failures, if you like. Well, none of them were failures, everything worked, but some better than others. So that's what I've decided to do, is not bother with those videos and bother with this one, because it shows some new power runs and it tells you a lot. I even tell you how to make this this active material, exactly what I do, how I get it in the binder, how I mix it. It's all there, it's all in this video. It's not a majorly long video, it's just a bit more really on top of what you've already seen, and you get all of the information. For instance, what carbons did I try? Well, you know what, loads. All of these carbons up there on the shelf. If I just do that, you got some idea of you know, where I went to with the carbons. Now, I mean, there's all sorts. There's leaf carbon, there's tea, there's various forms of sugar carbon that I've tried. Coal, lumpwood charcoal, just all sorts, you know, all sorts, even ash. I tried everything, and I tried combinations of all of these, activated carbon, various graphenes. I made a mix from my cake graphene. There it is, cake graphene. Now that whole, this is so light, this stuff. This is all sonicated stuff, by the way, and I've just dried it. That piece, you could put it on the scales, it wouldn't even blink, because that whole tub there of that cake graphene, the whole tub, not including the tub, but what's in the tub, is 2 grams. So I did that. Various formats. Oh, there's another one. Expanded graphite, I tried that. I tried graphite on its own, which was pretty good. I tried graphene, reduced graphene oxide back to graphene in ascorbic acid, in tea. Well, no, not in tea, sorry. It was ascorbic acid, yeah, where you get the jar of black graphene. I tried that. I've tried combinations of everything, even chitin, diatoms, obviously not on their own, they were doped with graphene oxide and reduced to graphene. I've tried all of that. Electrolyte wise, not many, to be honest, but all of them non-aqueous. I mean, that speaks for itself, doesn't it? You know, it's copper, isn't it? So that was one that I tried. That was a slight variation on it. These are deep eutectic solvents as well. You know, there's no water. It's monoethylene glycol, and a deep eutectic solvent, which I'll tell you about that in a minute. 2 more there. That was ascorbic acid. Now I know it's acid, but it's not, you know, a strong acid, is it? Ascorbic acid. Is it ascorbic acid? Yeah, ascorbic acid. That is alum. Now, I tried various combinations and one or two others as well, other deep detective solvents. Where I got some of the good results, to be fair, was with my deep detective solvent, the base deep detective solvent, which is the one that you've seen in the videos on the bench. There it is, and it is monoethylene glycol and choline chloride. Okay, so the quaternary ammonium salt, choline chloride, it's about the best there is out there. You know, they are the buzzwords in the battery world and all sorts of other worlds at the moment. It's always choline chloride. So choline chloride, monoethylene glycol. I also tried some magnesium sulfate and magnesium chloride in the mixes as well, in the blends, even with the copper and stuff like that. One there, this one for instance, deep detective solvent, monoethylene glycol and 20% magnesium chloride and 15% copper sulfate. Yeah, so there it is. Problem with that, it reacted all on its own. I ended up with some copper, look. So something went wrong there. But wanting to just get back to the basics, and I've come full circle with the active materials and that deep detective solvent, the electrolyte. I've come full circle and I've come right back to the choline chloride, no magnesium, just the choline chloride. So that last video you saw of that battery was just that deep detective solvent, which was choline chloride, monoethylene glycol. So that's it, now you know. I'm testing at the moment, which is in this video. I made up some more carbon black, and here they are. Magnetite and what else did we try? Yeah, manganese oxide. That was one of those, manganese oxide. You name it, I've tried it, and do you know what? Every single time I've come back to activated carbon. That's with all of the graphenes. Maybe just what I've produced graphene wise wasn't good enough, but do you know what? The graphene oxide, I tried 45 micron graphite, flake graphite, and 4 micron. Now the 4 micron is in there, and it is so difficult to deal with. It's untrue. I've been waiting for that to settle out now for over 2 weeks. We've got 3 bands in there. We've got the stuff on the bottom. We've got kind of a thermocline going on there. It looks like a thermocline, it's not obviously. And the top layer, that's after, well, I think it's more than 2 weeks now actually. So the 4 micron, trying to deal with that and filter it and all the rest of it is a nightmare. Whereas the 45 micron, not a problem. I think I'll do a bit of video as well about how I filter that and all the rest of it. So you know, the graphene oxide itself, it was all pH neutral. This isn't, but the other is all pH neutral, pucker graphene oxide, and I doped a lot of these carbons with the graphene oxide, and obviously reduced it back to graphene. Now, chitin, as I say, I doped chitin, same manner, graphene oxide, and I made a shed load of graphene oxide. It is good stuff, very, very concentrated. And there there it is. That's my concentrated graphene oxide. Lovely stuff. Don't waste any. I mean, there's like about 20 batteries worth there. So yeah, I've made a load of this stuff, the concentrate, and that's how I'm leaving it. You know, I'm not doing anything else with it until I want to use it. So the best material that I had for the anode was activated carbon. The second best material, actually, before I talk about that, the cathode, the best material, also activated carbon. But what I did with the activated carbon for the cathode, I doped it, and I doped it with graphene oxide and reduced it back to graphene. But I didn't just mix the activated carbon with the graphene oxide, you know, and just stir it. It was a bit of a process, and what I did was, while I was making a batch of graphene oxide, and it was one of the two methods that RMS showed us, the one with phosphoric acid, 40 millilitres of phosphoric, 360 millilitres of sulfuric, obviously 18 grams of potassium permanganate, 3 grams of graphite, 45 micron graphite, flake graphite. So that's where it started. I was making the graphene oxide, and I thought, while it's, you know, I'd literally just mixed the acid in with the potassium and all the rest of it when it's volatile, and I put the activated carbon in with that, and then I put it on the stirrer for 12 hours as per the method, this adaptation of a Hummers, I think he said it was. So that's what I did. Now this material, obviously 12 hours stirring, that's how I doped the activated carbon. So I then took some of that material when it was all washed, and obviously you got to clean it with hydrochloric and stuff like that, give it a good old wash and filtered and pH neutral and all the rest of it. Then I tried that material, and I reduced it back to graphene with heat, and that material on the cathode was pretty good, and it still is pretty good. But that last video you saw was just activated carbon on the anode and just activated carbon on the cathode. That was it. Now you could think, well, that's a capacitor. Well, no, it's not. You saw what I did with it. There is no capacitor can do that. They don't regenerate themselves, do they? Although I think RMS did show us one that partially did or whatever. But when a capacitor's empty, it's empty. There's an empty tank. So it's not a capacitor, is it? It's a battery. So how simple can you get? You've got 2 pieces of graphite as the collector plates, 2 bits of active material, and your separator. You know, that is so simple. And the electrolyte, the deep detective solvent, nothing else. None of the ionic liquids that I made with the magnesium sulfate and the magnesium chloride. Although they were effective, what I'm doing at the moment is just getting through this active material stage. So I kept that deep detective solvent. This is why I didn't move away from it. I kept with it, excuse me, all the way through. So that's where we are. Now today, I'm going back, and I've tried carbon black again. No good. Nowhere near as good as that activated carbon. Cannot get away from that activated carbon. at all. So there's probably people shouting at the screens going, oh, that's rubbish, but I said, do you know what, it's not rubbish. I've never been able to get away from activated carbon yet. Maybe it's because I've never been able to produce a decent graphene. I don't know, but I can't get away from it, and I've always sworn by it. And I think most of the major capacitor companies at the moment would be using activated carbon even in a supercapacitor. Yeah, there's going to be graphene involved as well, but do you know what? I think, you know, financially, activated carbon, because it is good enough. So there we are. I won't go on for too much longer. I've told you everything there was to know. If there's anything you want to know, ask. I mean, for instance, like the chitin. Bit of chitin left in there. I doped that with graphene oxide, reduced it back to graphene. I couldn't get it to work. Well, I'll tell a lie, it worked, but it didn't work well. Didn't work as well as the activated carbon. But there is one thing I've got to say about all of these carbons, the sugar carbons, the coal, lumpwood, charcoal, leaf carbons. I've tried tobacco, I've tried everything. And I've got to say one thing. I don't think, and this is my opinion, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. My opinion is, all of these carbons ain't going to work unless they're conductive. Activated carbon is conductive, as we know. And those other carbons, although I activated them in various acids, I tried, you know, sulfuric and loads of other concoctions to activate, always found that sulfuric was the best to activate the carbon, i.e. give it a higher surface area. But if they ain't conductive, forget it. The only other way you can do it is with your polymer. You need a conductive polymer. If you haven't got a conductive carbon for your active material, then you need a conductive polymer. I've come to these conclusions, and that's it. There's no one going to change my mind unless they can really prove me wrong. And you'd have to go a bit to do that, because I've tried so much of this stuff. And I think this is why the activated carbon, and graphene obviously, which is conductive, they always come out on top. Irrespective of, I mean, like your chitins and your leaf carbons and stuff like that, the structure, the microscopic structure of those materials should make them winners. I don't know what they do with chitin. I don't know what they do with hemp to produce a battery material. I just don't know what they do. I've only looked at it briefly. I haven't done a lot about it myself. I've had a little play. Like I said, I've tried doping it with graphene oxide, 4 micron and 45 micron. The 45 micron was always better than the 4. That much I do know. It was 4 to 5 micron. But yeah, that's where I am. And this is as far as I've come. I know I've got 1 hour and 20 minutes out of this battery now, so that's pleased me. I'm striving to get 1 hour and 30 minutes, but there's only a finite amount of material on that battery. We know that. Perhaps I should just fill the plates up and do a 40mm by 40mm, a definite 40 by 40, and just increase that surface area a little bit. But on that power run where I got 1 hour and 20 minutes, I used one motor, and that one motor was drawing 14 milliamps, and then it dropped down to 11, and then sort of leveled out at 10 milliamps all the way through the test. So when I got the hour, I'm guessing we could call that particular battery a 10 milliamp hour battery. Although some of this video now, if you watch the rest of this, you'll see me start nearly all of those motors up. Just at the flick of a switch, the whole lot straight in. So it just shows that that battery's got some oomph in it, for one. But yeah, watch it if you want. I think I've said all I can say about what I tried and what I did. There wasn't too much in the way of electrolytes, as I say. It was all the different carbons that I tried, and the amount of combinations that I tried, I couldn't even calculate. I just couldn't. You know, the various mixes of this one plus that one on the cathode, this one on the anode, and then vice versa, swapped them round, and it was driving me mad. And I come all the way full circle, as I said, to the back to the activated carbon. So I don't know. That's about it. I can't say any more than that. If you've got any questions, ask a question, and if I can answer it, I'll answer it. I'm at the stage now where I'm trying to separate the materials, and I've got a piece of cell guard there. I've tried that. At the moment I'm using this, back to this kitchen wipe stuff, not the yellow one but this one, obviously. This is pretty good. The yellow one works, they both work, everything works, but the yellow one tends to keep the anode and cathode materials too far apart. The closer they are, the better the battery. Same with the capacitor, I guess. So that's that. Can't say any more, can I? Watch the rest of this video, and there's a little bit more to learn. Show you how I mix these materials and into the binder and all the rest of it. So I'll leave you with it, and I'll speak to you soon. And if you want to shout at me if you're not doing those other two videos, you can. But realistically, what you want to do is watch the other ones coming after this lot, because I upscaled this battery to about 65mm square, I think, on the active material, and that was quite interesting. And then of course we've got the lead carbon as well, so I'd rather be doing those than just trawl through 100 hours of footage of this battery when it first started, when I only got 12 minutes out of it. Who wants to see that? Realistically, I don't particularly want to see it again, to be honest, but that's where we are. I'll speak to you soon. There is one really important thing that I do want to say. You guys out there that do the YouTube videos and you hold the camera with one hand and you try and get clips and clamps and probes and things and set these things up in your batteries or whatever you're showing us, your capacitors, and and you're fumbling away and the video's shaking like this. Make one of these. Do you know how much that cost me? Nothing. A couple of bits of timber. I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying, make one of these. That stand there, that phone, my phone is sat on, is one of these. It's just taller. A couple of bits of timber, 5 minutes to make, and you just sit it there like that. And then what you do, you get one of these, a phone, and just sit the phone on there. Job done. It drives me insane when I see or try to watch this video. It's like watching a fly flying around the room on some of them. It drives me mad. So that's my little bit of a rant on the end of this. Make one of those. They're brilliant. You've got both hands free to, show people what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Sorry. I'm back. two thoughts occurred to me. I was finishing off cooking my food. I don't know how long it's been since the last part of the video, but one thought was, are we trying to overcharge this given the surface area, which is 4 square centimetres? And that was the one thought. The second thought was, what the hell am I expecting from this given the surface area, which is 4 square centimetres? In terms of, when you think of commercial batteries, they've got a massive surface area, especially like if you unroll a lithium ion battery, got a massive surface area. This has got next to nothing in comparison. So what am I actually expecting from this? Now I put it back on charge, and I thought, right, okay, I'm going to give it 10 minutes. I think it's been 11 minutes, and I'm going to see what the voltage is, for one, and two, I'm going to run the test again. So what I'm going to do is not put this motor on, because we've got a dodgy switch and the motor's dodgy, I think. So what I'm going to do is run that one and see. Now straight away, less of a charge, higher voltage. Now I didn't expect that, did not expect that, but I'm going to let this one run. It's late. I'm still cooking, by the way. I'm going to eat some tea while I'm waiting. Now that in itself, that 1.9 there, 1.8 now, is better than the last run, which was charged for longer. So hey ho, I'm going to let it run. We know where that is. It was 2 minutes after the 10, so we'll see. I think I'm going to stay a while. Actually, I've just come back in. This bit here is the bit to look for, I think. I don't know. Less of a charge, and look at that. That bit there. 2.1 volts there. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, I've come back in again a few minutes later. I personally think I'm trying to overcharge 4 square centimetres, so let's just see what happens. I could be wrong, we'll see. I've got a new battery for my vernier, and I did say at one point I was going to measure some of these materials. That one is just over 0.5 mil, look, that one. Another piece here which is quite thin, we've got 0.37 of a mil. So yeah, they all vary in thicknesses and whatnot. I've obviously tried my best to get them as thin as possible. Some of these earlier ones were quite thick. Some of these early ones were very thick, in fact. But not to worry about that. At least you can see the sort of the thickness of the materials that I'm trying to work with at the moment on the active materials. And I'm actually going to show you how I make these materials, these active materials, in this binder. It's quite interesting, quite easy to do, and it's very, very fast. That's the main thing. Because I've tried so many, I need it to be quick. So I think what now then, making this stuff, what we need is a binder. And some material, of course. And what I'm going to do is use my favourite material, the one that's proven to be the best all the way through this. And what you need is one of these. That's a 3 milliliter pipette, and one of these, a lollipop stick or a popsicle stick, whichever way you want to describe it. So you've got your material, you've got that and that. Now all you need is your binder, and this is my binder. Now I've used this in earnest now for, well, ever since I saw it on YouTube. It is the Robert Murray Smith, I've said this many times before, cigarette butt separator with polyethylene glycol, in acetone obviously. And the reason I use it, it's just so damn quick. You know, within an hour you can be using your material. So all we do, there's an old pipette in there, but I'll take that out I think, because it's been sat in the acetone and it's gone hard there as well. So we'll take that one out. And what we do is we take a bit of this material like so, and just mix it up. Now you're going to need about 3 of those on this. And you have to be relatively quick with this because it is acetone after all. So there we go, we've done 3 of those, and just as quickly as you can get that mixed in. I've put a bit too much carbon on there. I think we're going to require another one of those. In fact, you can see how many of these tests I've done. That was full when I first started. I should have used a bigger board as well to do this on, but never mind. So make sure every piece of that powder is mixed in. Make sure it's all wet. And there we have it. Spread it around with your stick. Now, all you need to do is leave that to dry. Smooth it off as best you can. And just leave it to dry. That's it. Give that an hour and come back to it. I mixed up some more materials this morning, and this one is carbon black, and that's what's in there, carbon black. Now you saw that material that I've just mixed. All you do after that, and this is all you do, is give it a little spray with water. Alright, give it a spray, and then get a blade and just get a blade under it and just lift it like so, and you've got that. So there's the material. Okay, that piece hadn't moved from when I cut it, so that's that. And then let me just put that down there. What you do, as Robert Murray Smith showed us, is wash the polyethylene glycol out of the separator, as he called it. I'm using it as a binder and it's phenomenal. So you give it a wash and then give it a dry. Now these pieces here, they've been drying for about 2 hours. Not that they need 2 hours, but because I went out, these are now dry. This one here is manganese oxide, and I haven't tried these yet. I've made them, they're dry, and I haven't tried them. As regards how thick that is, well, it's 0.48 of a mil, basically, nice and thin. So that's carbon black, which is on the battery now, manganese oxide there, and magnetite there. Now these are curling up a bit, but that doesn't matter. We can flatten those out. They will break if you manhandle them too much. Some of this stuff is more flexible than others. I mean, that's brittle because of it's magnetite and it's just the material, I guess. But you know, these were made at the same time, they were washed at the same time. So now you know how to make this. Really, really simple. You know, I will be, and I've said this before, forever grateful to Robert Murray Smith for sharing this one with us. Just unbelievable. But I've found that just that on its own, the acetone and the polyethylene glycol works. So that's me. Right, what I'm going to do is I'll get rid of these for now. You know what the crack is there. You basically you do the mix, let it set, wet it out, lift it and wash it. Well, cut it and wash it. Whatever you do, don't try and cut it like that. Always do it like this. Just push the blade. Do that so you can see it. Just push the blade into the material like so. If you drag it, what you tend to do is rip it, and then you've got to make some more. So that's that then. Now you know how I produce this material. Okay, in amongst everything else that I'm doing on my new look workbench, nice and clean, tidy. Yes, I'm trying to develop these an active material, I should say, after loads and loads of different attempts. The one thing I am glad to say is that I'm charging this battery at the moment through a piece of this, which is plastic, and is my new microporous plastic. It's not the before anyone thinks that it's the Robert Murray Smith cigarette butt separator style one. This is my own polymer, but I've managed to make it microporous, which I'm glad to say. And there it is. That's the charge current. And if I were to, this is my new charge setup. So if I switch those off, we've got a battery voltage there, which is this battery here, the all carbon battery. Put a motor on, and there we go. And there it is. Put 3 motors on it, look. Here we go. I mean, it's only been on charge for 5 minutes really, so it needs obviously charging, but it does actually work. So you can draw current through it, you can charge through it. Wonderful. It's not spot on, I don't suppose, for 1 minute, but I need to make it a little bit thinner if I can. It's quite thick, but it works. Just thought I'd report that bit. Right, I think this thing's charged up a bit. I've just removed that big one because I just want the focus to be on this, and that's it. Don't want to be focusing on anything else. But one of the things I'd thought about that I wanted to try was that master switch there is for these motors. Now I've got four motors on there, switched on, ready to go. Well, actually I'll try 5, and what I want to do is stop the charge and switch the motors on to see just how much grunt this has got. Now they are inductive loads, obviously, motors, and the initial spike from some of these can be as high as 35 milliamps or whatever. I've noticed. I think one of them was 39 milliamps as a peak, and then they get going. So I just wanted to test that from that angle, if you like. So what I'm going to do is knock the charge off and flick that master switch. And yeah, it starts up 5 motors. Let's go for 6. Now there's a massive voltage drop there, obviously, with all of those motors on, as you would expect, because there's no surface area in there, is there? They're all sort of that size. All these, well, they all vary, of course, but the majority are that sort of a size. So that's the active material. It's not the whole of that plate, it's just that, what you see there. And all of these various pieces, smaller, larger, whatever, they're all breaking up now, but they're all much of a muchness. That's 40mm by 60, I think, or 50. Let's have a look. 40 by 50, but they're not 40 by 50, so it ain't doing bad, that. So we've got what, 2, 4, 6 motors. Let's go for 7. Bit greedy, but still went for it, didn't it? That's not bad. Just put a little bit of charge back in it. Give it like 30 seconds or something. Now, I think it'd be a bit ambitious if we said we'll try 8. I won't use that one actually, because that one's pretty worn out. It draws a lot of current, that one. This is a bigger motor than that, but I'll try that one. Okay, knock that off. We're here. 8 motors. Nice recovery as well. Nice bit better bounce back. Interesting. Got a bit of grunt in it. It's got a bit of the old V8, this one. I love V8s. Can't beat a good V8. So there it is. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 motors. Just give it a few seconds of charge. The other thing I keep forgetting as well is that that's going to be really dry at the moment, because it's oozing the electrolyte all the time, and you're constantly wiping it up with this pressure on it. So realistically what I should do is just give it a couple of drops every now and then, but I do keep forgetting to do that. So if I just pop that there it might just remind me to do it. Yeah, I didn't put that on charge, did I? I don't know what I did then, but... Or maybe I didn't switch it off again. Right. Let's go for those again. 6 motors, not a problem. See what the recovery is like. Overall recovery, not bad. Go for 7 again. Didn't like that, did it? 6. Likes that. I can't believe what I'm seeing there at the moment. Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to put that back on charge. Maybe it's not as dry as I thought it was. Right, I shall try this for the last time. 5 motors on, I think. 6, 7. Go for the 8, not that one because it's worn out. And it starts 8 motors. And it recovers. There's no point to this, of course, because we're obviously trying to draw way too much power out of that for the size of that. So, you know, I've got all this to come again with this one, haven't I? So, you know, the upscale version of that. So, the only problem is I'm using 2 different pieces of graphite there, where these 2 pieces of graphite are the same, if you like. So things are going to be slightly different, I guess. Don't really know, but there you go. 5 motors. A lot of current being drawn there on the initial startup, we know that. So 6 motors. Yeah, I'm quite happy with it. So actually what I've decided to do, you can see by the time it's only been what, 2 minutes, I've racked up the voltage to 5.5 volts. We've got 270 milliamps going into it. Look, one of the things, I can't remember if I've shown this before, but that battery there, if you look at it, now there's the separator down there. There are no big hydrogen bubbles coming off it. I did get some earlier on, but I've got a little bit of water contamination, and the way I test for it is with this. What happens is when you do that, you get all these crackles and pops. There's nothing coming off that at the moment, so we're okay. Like I say, I've racked up the voltage, try and get a bit of charge into this quickly. I'll turn that down now. Well, actually, I won't just turn it off when that's what I'll do. I've still got 2, 4, 6 motors connected up there. We'll turn that off and do that. Now straight away, that You know, it's only had a couple of minutes charge. That one, this motor's a bit dodgy at the moment, so I'll just go, we'll go 7. Yeah, we'll try the 8 with that one. Yeah. And what I'll do, I'll just put a little bit more back into it, and we'll go for the 9. Now this one is 20 milliamps on its own, basically, so that's like, well, it's not 2 of those, but it's almost. Okay, so just give that another 5 seconds. Like that. And there we go. 9 motors. So, activated carbon all the way. Can't beat it. That's taking 320 milliamps at that, 310. 5.5 volts. It's too high really, but the thing is, okay, I'm back down to 4.1 or 4.1. The thing is, I mean, the battery can take it, you know, that was 5.5 volts. And it's not fizzing, crackling, popping or anything like that. There's no smoke, steam coming off it, there's nothing, just look at the recovery again. Yeah. 5 motors on for a second. I know I've shown all this before, but the main thing was the startup, because it's almost 200 milliamps. That ain't bad, is it? 5 motors there. Activated carbon. I'm going to go now because what I want to do is edit this video and get it uploaded, and it's the bit obviously that tells you everything that I've done, more or less. If you've got a question, ask a question. I'll be glad to answer all the questions. Like I say, the next bit now for me is the separator material. This cell guard's brilliant, love it. At the moment I've got that kitchen material, that, because that's pretty good. That yellow stuff, that kitchen material, that works as well. But like I said, it's too thick, and it does keep the anode and cathode materials too far apart. So, still running 5 motors, look. Okay, so there you have it. A bit more insight into this all carbon battery. The thing I can't get away from is how much it's got for the size of it. And you know, we are literally talking about, you know, that's my surface area inside this carbon battery. Now you've seen the videos, you know roughly, well, you should know everything by now, you know, activated carbon all the way, and you know, my deep detective solvent, simples. The thing the thing that I really need to do right now is upscale this. Now on the bench there is an upscale version, and that's going to be one of the next videos, along with the carbon lead version, which is surprising again, and that is the size of the active material that's on this one. And that's the difference, look. Quite a difference. Now, having said that, I really need to upscale this, because as we know, that's an 18650 lithium battery. Phenomenal piece of kit. We can't argue with it. We know what it does. They're just unbelievable. I'm not going to talk about the nasty stuff that's in it or anything, or its bad points or anything. They're superb as a battery. We know that. But when you unroll one of these, there's a lot of surface area in it, and I mean a lot. I'll give you an example. Well, not an example. That is how much surface area is in that. Now I know this is a fact because I've got one stripped. It's over there, and I've measured it. And what you've got is a strip of aluminium and a strip of copper as the collectors, and they're that long, 18 inches long. Well, the active material is 18 inches long, but it's on both sides. So in effect, you've got 36 inches of active material in there on the anode and on the cathode, and you've got your lithium as well. So I can't wait to get one of these into action. And the only way I can do it, I don't think with my current technology, if you like, that I can produce a good enough binder to be able to do a jelly roll. You know, roll it up as a jelly roll. I don't think I can do it. I'll give it a go, but I don't think I'll be successful. I want to use 2 pieces of this aluminium, but can I produce a jelly roll? Like I say, I'll give it a go. The only alternative that I can think of is, the easier option is to put it on a board, on a flat board, and get it all weighted down and make a battery that big. That's the only way I can think of doing it, and that's what I really want to do, and I've got my heart set on doing that. So you know, so I've got an equivalent surface area to do a comparison, not with a 3.7 volt lithium battery, but a comparison just, you know, with the same amount of surface area as that battery's got. That's all I'm after. You know, I'm not trying to prove any points against a lithium battery, because you never will. You know, with this chemistry, you've got no chance. But that small battery, that small carbon battery, is just phenomenal. With that surface area, you know, that. We know it's on the anode and the cathode, but it is still that. Do you know what I'm saying? One last thing, nearly forgot. I wanted to put this into perspective, i.e. the surface area. It measured 55 millimeters by 900 millimeters. Well, it was just over, but we'll call it 900 millimeters, which equated to 49,500 square millimeters. So you've got 495 square centimeters of active material. 495 square centimeters. If you divide that by 4, I'm trying to remember, 124 square centimeters. Is that right? No, I've got it. If you divide that by 4, basically that is 124 times the size of mine. 124 times bigger than my surface area, and that actually is not 4 square centimetres. It never has been. I keep saying it's 4 square centimetres, but it's not. It's always been like 3.5 by 2 or 2.5 or something like that. So I'm quizzed in, really, when I think about it. Yeah, 124, excuse me, times what I've got. So just wanted to put that into perspective. So that's where I'm coming from. Yes, we've got the video of all this, you know, upscaled and all the rest of it. So, you know, if you've enjoyed this video, yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it the old thumbs up or something like that, because not many, I've noticed not many people do. That last all carbon video, I think got more views than any of my other videos, apart from the, what was it, there's another one that got quite a few views. Oh, conductive polymer, that one, yeah. Got some more interesting stuff to show along those lines as well soon. As you will have seen in this video, I've made this pick it up, this porous stuff, microporous, which I used as a separator. It works extremely well. I just need to make some more and get it nice and thin and all the rest of it, and tweak it a bit, because I know I can get it better. And then the next step is to make it conductive, a conductive polymer. That's where I'm really aiming for. So yeah, views, thumbs up. My last, that all carbon battery, got quite a few views, but not many people do the old thumbs up, really. I try to. I know you do forget, because most people are just dying to like get on the bench and grab a couple of bits of carbon and build one of these, aren't they? You know, I mean, that's me as well, you know. So I'm not faulting anyone, but yeah, if you could give it the old thumbs up, and any comments, any suggestions, you know, anything at all, give us a shout. So I'll see you soon.